Hi, my name is Tony Zerzega and I'm a fair housing attorney with Community Legal Aid Society. In recognition of National Fair Housing Month, today I'm going to talk about federal and state fair housing laws, who those laws protect, and what type of conduct is prohibited. The Fair Housing Act was passed by Congress in 1968 and is one of the most important pieces of legislation of the Civil Rights era. Delaware followed with its own similar Fair Housing Act a year later. The Fair Housing Act protects individuals from discrimination on the basis of race or personal characteristics associated with race, skin color or complexion, national origin or ancestry, religion, sex, disability, and familial status. The Delaware Fair Housing Act adds creed, marital status, age, sexual orientation, and source of income. With those protected classes in mind, let's talk about some of the types of conduct that are prohibited. Discriminatory treatment includes statements, limitations, or preferences based on any of the protected classes. An example would be an advertisement saying whites only, or a statement from a provider saying that we do not rent to black families. Providers also cannot falsely deny that housing is available for inspection, sale, or rental. Setting different terms, conditions, or privileges for sale or rental of a dwelling or providing different housing services or facilities is also prohibited. Examples include higher down payments or different terms for members of a protected class or special discounts not available to members of a protected class. The Fair Housing Act prohibits discriminatory advertising, such as making, printing, or publishing any statement in connection with the sale or rental of a dwelling which indicates a preference, limitation, or discrimination based on the protected classes. Another fair housing violation is blockbusting, which means that for profit, a provider attempts to persuade or try to persuade homeowners to sell or rent dwellings by suggesting that people of a particular protected class have moved or are about to move into the neighborhood. Providers cannot refuse to let individuals with disabilities make reasonable modifications at the tenant's expense to their dwelling or common use areas if it may be necessary in order to fully use the housing. Providers also cannot refuse to make reasonable accommodations in rules, policies, practices, or services if it may be necessary for that individual to use the housing on an equal basis with non-disabled persons. Examples include a building with a no pets policy must allow a visually impaired tenant to keep a guide dog, or an apartment complex that offers tenants unassigned parking must honor a request from a mobility impaired tenant for a reserved space near her apartment if it may be necessary to assure that she can have access to her apartment. Sexual harassment, such as conditional access to housing based on submission to sexual conduct or the creation of an intimidating, offensive, or hostile environment by a provider, employee, agent, or other tenant, is also prohibited under the Act. It is also illegal to retaliate, threaten, coerce, intimidate, or interfere with anyone exercising a fair housing right or assisting another to assert fair housing rights. If you believe you've been a victim of a violation of housing discrimination, contact Community Legal Aid Society in Newcastle County at 302-575-0660, in Kent County at 302-674-8500, and in Sussex County at 302-856-0038.